was great seeing you guys, but I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed. You have taken on a project here and have been successful. Okay, you know, I think you played my favorite 3 Grainger melodies. You know, had you done Hand on the Strand, it would be wonderful. But anyway, no, and the first movement, the first piece you played, you really captured the Grainger style. You really, really did. Okay, let's start with the last movement, the Lost Lady Found here, and see if we can start at measure 18. Okay, and well, go ahead and start, and I think I'll be reminded of what I wanted to say here. Go ahead and start right there, and watch me for the stop. Okay, 18. The three quarter notes. Everyone has quarter note rest. Play for me. And I really want you to focus on maintaining the integrity of the short note, but create a sonority. Okay? Now I think you can achieve that by a little more air behind the sound. Okay? Get the air up front of the note more, because I think it's just the low voices. Try it. Let me hear everyone at 18 who has quarter note, 8, quarter rest. Play for me.
Low brass band.
I just want you to give him a downbeat for the first note. He's going to give you the downbeat, then you're going to play by yourselves. Okay, you have to internalize that pulse. Okay? He's going to start you. But then after he gives you that downbeat, you're on your own. Do it again. Play together. Breathe together, play together. Stop. Who has the highest voice? I think, yeah. Play more. I need more from that voice. Okay? And I'm going to ask the Perry sax just a little less, okay? It's a good sound up there. I know it's a great sound, okay? More, okay? So what I'm now doing I'm trying to get this balanced. And you immediately play together because you were on your own, you were internalized. And this group could do a lot. They could play this whole performance by themselves. They should be able to, because your chamber wins here, okay? Do it again, same thing, give the downbeat. Get out of the way. More. Good, man. Way to go. Now, what I'm going to say next is one of the most important things you're going to have to deal with as you continue through your career as playing your horns. You must play every performance rehearsal, whenever you're in an ensemble, you must adapt to that ensemble, in terms of balance and blend, and even sometimes even color and timbre. No matter who shows up, and you probably have days where you don't have the entire group. Like I know you two are at Churchill, right? So you never have them during the day, right? But do you have most of them on a daily basis?
We rehearse 2 hours once a week. That's it.
But they're mostly here then?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you get an opportunity to listen to what you're going to, the people in the ensemble almost on a regular basis, which is better than most groups. Some groups, they'll have 10 out one day, they'll have 12 out the next day, they'll have everyone hear this. But adapt to what you hear, okay? And get outside of your area as far as listening goes. And listen across the ensemble and forward and backward. Okay? Now let's put that together with that same balance in that back row and the Barry sax and add everyone else there. Same place. 18. Go ahead. And conduct this time.
Okay. Yes, sir.
have the back row balanced within itself, but they're not balanced to the rest of the ensemble. So I'm going to ask you to back off about 2 notches. Maintain the balance within your line, but just turn down the volume for that whole group. Okay, so the front part of the ensemble doesn't have to work quite so hard. Okay, but don't lose the energy. Man, you got good energy and good integrity there. So go do it again, just a little less. This will help you achieve transparency. And with this group, and especially with this music, you've got to, and if you don't understand what I'm talking about, he will explain it to you after, when you have more time, in your 2-hour-a-week rehearsal. Good Lord, I don't know how you do it. But anyways, that's much, much better. Let's go to the second movement.
That would be in high school. I'd want to keep that. Yes, it would.
Anyways, go ahead and start. This, I need more, I felt like I needed more bass almost all the time on this. And keep it smooth. Keep it as smooth as you can. Open up the embouchure. Okay, create more of a presence when you play. Okay? Go. From the beginning. You guys can do that better. Just do it better. Do it again. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Just step forward just enough to let your presence know, and then, okay, I've done my thing, and then, and you can create such wonderful movement in the music that way, and sonority. But that was one, and this whole piece, you have to be able to know when to come forward and when to retreat. It's just a matter of knowing. You can start right where you stop. Keep going. Actually, I want to give. Where were we at here?
We just ended about right here.
Yeah, and just start right where you left off.
Okay, we start at 4 then, I guess.
If I point to you and want you to come forward, go ahead. But, with your volume and your sound, okay?
Measure 4. It's a 4/4 measure. You can start better than that. Don't ignore the beginnings of the first note or any note. I mean, make that a beautiful note. And I haven't been here in a while, but for those of you who know, one of the things we've been talking to you about since you've been around me is when you take the air in, do you stop the air? No, you just keep the air moving. Take air in and then right back out. Don't clog up your lungs with the stoppage of the air, because that creates a little pop at the other end. We don't need that. Okay, go ahead. Do it again. Air in, air out. Nice release. confidence. Yeah, really, really some nice moments in there. You guys really are starting to understand this music. This is pretty cerebral stuff. You're playing music that's on this level, you know, as far as musicality and musicianship, and you're doing a really good job. I'm very impressed. And here's the nicest compliment I can give you at this point is, it doesn't feel contrived. It feels like it's natural for you to do what you're doing. In other words, you haven't rehearsed everything to the point where it's just very, very, well, I get louder here, or get softer here, blah, blah, blah. So you're emoting a little bit, and that's really, really nice. Do the first, a little bit of the first one. This you really got my attention quickly with this style. You really did. That was very nice. Go ahead. Before you start, xylophone, can you play where you enter? Could you play your part where you enter?
Which one?
Doesn't matter.
Xylo, would you play at 66?
Where you have the melody.
You play 66?
Okay, the reason I had him play is everyone who has a part that is similar to that, and when you're playing along with them, his length notes are predetermined. He can't change the length of his notes. Okay? So when he's moving, and what you need to do, especially as a woodwind player, as you go through that, is match that length note that you hear back there. Okay, rather than, because he can't change his. And that's right. So that's got to be right. Okay? So we have to go to that. I've used that many, many times, especially when woodwinds have a part it's a tutti part with a xylophone. I say, listen to the xylophone and play the note with that length. Okay? Now let's start at the beginning. Okay, so it's the same problem we had the first time too, right there with precision. We have a little bit of rushing by some individuals. Okay? That happened the first time too. So we're going to give you another shot at it. Okay? Don't rush. Don't rush. Get a good steady pulse. Okay? Try it one more time. When you're going down, push, going down, push going down. Alto and baritone. Play. Where's it?
Can you, yeah.
Right there.
Pick up a 6, I guess. It's fine.
Do it again. Yeah. Play it like you were playing you're the only two people on stage playing. Okay? Listen to each other. If you can't hear each other, then play a little softer. Or the other person play loud. Do it one more time. That was much better. One more time. Same two people. You got ahead of us again. Yeah, just wait. Do it again. You can do this.
Much better.
Let's everyone start there. Wherever that is.
6? Right at 6.
This is what we want to hear. When you finish that boom, boom. Just a little bit more length, just to make sure, you know, because of your size, there's no ring. Okay, there's not as much ring as you know, because of your size. So you have to create the length note. You can't depend on the stage or the auditorium. You have to create whatever length note you want. And when you have a larger group, it's hard to determine when we actually, you know, stop the sound because there's so many. But when you guys, you can determine that, okay? Well, I'm going to call it a day. He's Dr. Reynolds up here. Did I go over time? I'm sorry.
Hey, it's all your time.
It's so great seeing you guys again. I can't tell you how impressed I am with what I'm hearing. Holy mackerel, man. This is beautiful. And you've taken the lemons and made incredible lemonade, man, in terms of, you know, with the cards that were dealt you. I am so impressed. Because you could have just said, well, there's nothing we can do. You didn't. You came every week, I guess is all you had. You know, and you guys are here, you know, it's just tremendous. I am so impressed, you know, and it gives me great hope for the Auburndale, you know, band program in terms of what has been going on over here for the last few years. And you guys, you continued it. Okay? So, thank you. You did a great job.
And what he said, good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's gold, right? It's gold. All right, I'm Dr. Reynolds. This is what I look like. And I get to see all of you, and I teach at Southeastern University, okay? So, where I'm the band director and orchestra director there. So, my mission today is to try to help you immediately have change some things, or maybe enhance some things. I shouldn't say change, enhance some things that'll help you in the long run, right? How do we do things that with immediate effect? It's one thing to talk about a philosophy or a concept, but what can we do immediately to make a difference, right? That's kind of what most people are interested in, right? So a couple things I think. One of them is there a difference between crushing rhythm and rushing the tempo? Yes, sir. There is. Okay, so yes, I think you're exactly right. There is a difference. What I hear in the first movement of the Shepherd's Hay, it's not that we're rushing. It's that individual note patterns are getting crushed to take less time than they should get. And that causes a little bit of a hiccup at times in the time. Right? Like in my ear and in my mind, I'm thinking, the Shepherd's Hay, every time I hear this, I just imagine a metronome that has the swinging arm on it. You guys ever seen one of those? Yes, sir. So swinging arm. It's like, that's what's in my head. I just visualize it every single time because that movement is so rhythmic that way. You know, not only is it metronomic, but it's like this, the old school swinging arm, you gotta wind it up metronome, you know? And it doesn't change, right? It doesn't change. Do you guys know anything about this music other than the notes? And have you talked about anything about Grainger or about the music you're playing? Have you discussed it at all? It's okay if you haven't. I'm just interested to know. Did you know that Grainger was a piano player?
Yes, sir.
His main instrument was piano. Later on, he became a saxophone player, and he played in the military band. Did you know that Grainger was a native of Australia?
Yes, sir.
He's an eccentric guy. He used to play piano recitals, and he found his way from Australia to Europe, and he wouldn't take a train or any form of transportation to get from one gig to the next. He would like hike or run. It didn't matter how far away. It could be 150 miles away, and dude's going to hike or run in between it, you know. And so, why is that important? It's because on all this on-foot travel that he did, he had the opportunity in the late 1900s, early 20th century to hear a lot of people whistling and singing simple little tunes from the area where they lived. That's where this music comes from, right? So the idea that the folk songs help inform kind of the way we play this, it's great music, But a lot of times people overthink it. The first movement is just a little dance jig. You know, that's all it is, right? So, but I get back to what I was talking to you about earlier. Careful to not crush rhythm patterns. Right? Now, does anybody have a guess on what creates musical style? What determines musical style? They got a guess? It's okay if you don't. That's why I'm here.
When and why, or when and where the
Okay, musical style. That certainly it influences, right? But now let's yeah, go ahead.
note length and articulation.
Note length is certainly one of them. Note length. The other one is how much weight you put on certain notes. Right? Now that is related to articulation. So really, in essence, what you're talking about is right. Right? So what are the two things that affect musical style? Weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, like heavy or light, or somewhere in between, and length, how long or how short. Those two things determine what the musical style is of a particular movement. There could not be a more dramatic difference in style from Shepherd's Hay to Horkstow Grange. The difference couldn't be more dramatic, right? That's what makes it cool, right? Because over here we're going to play like a little penny whistle tune almost. And then, just make a pretty little folk song out of it. All right, so a couple of the notes that I have here is, has anybody ever heard the term agogic? A-G-O-G-I-C, agogic accent.
I have written it on the board before.
Okay, all right, so have some kind of exposure to, right? Does anybody know what it means? Agogic accent? All right. So kind of like him, kind of like he's going, how good a teacher am I? I wrote it on the board, I taught it, but nobody can tell me what it is, right? So the agogic accent, here's the simple explanation. It's the naturally recurring pulse in the music. It's the natural occurring pulse in the music. So if we're playing something that's in waltz, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The irregularly recurring accent is always on 1, 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1. We play Beethoven. Ba 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 ba. The natural recurring accent in classical music is 1 and 3. We play bassy and we start swinging. Where's the natural occurring accent in that? 2 and 4, right? Okay, so here's the point. The reason I'm teaching this lesson is because any time in Grainger, when you have the opportunity to play opposite of the agogic accent, you have to take advantage of it. You notice how I'm emphasizing 4? I'm giving you emphasis or weight on count 4. You follow what I'm saying? Okay. So yeah. So now in the last one, in Lost Lady Found, it feels like it's always on 1, and occasionally you get this 1, right? So you get this little accent that happens on 3 occasionally. Those are moments you gotta really bring out when we play the last movement of the set, right? The Lost Lady Found. Okay, now let's see. I covered that. I completely agree with Mr. Fultz. Occasionally, the accompaniment parts need to play just a little bit more fully. He was working with that just a minute ago, trying to get the interior parts to fill out a little bit more. He was doing that in the last movement, right, in the Lost Lady Found. So that there's a little bit more texture in there. Yeah. And I completely agree with that. If you ever mess with this arrangement again, in terms of there's an eighth note that's missing in the third. Trying to find a way to orchestrate that, though.
It's hard.
Yeah. But rhythmically, that's what I'm drawn to. Is that thing. Try to figure out how to score it is a little bit different issue, but
I took it out because I knew it would be a problem.
Yeah. I get it. Two band directors, right, talking to each other. You may be getting it or maybe not, but there's some missing stuff that's there that helps that movement. It may not help you, right? You know what I'm saying? It helps the movement. It may not help you, and that's probably a smart decision about why he took it out. Some things that I really like is I hear so many good sounds in this group. Bravo. Here's so many, us band directors, we talk about characteristic sounds. I got to tell you a quick story. The first time I showed up to an all-district tryout one time. I was a young band director. Showed up and said, "Hey, I'm here to help however I can." Right? Here to use me however you want to. Right? So they said, "Oh man, one of our judges for the clarinet scales and sight reading room is not going to be here today. Can you fill in and judge in clarinet scales and sight reading? Junior high." Okay? Oh, sure. Yeah, gung ho, right? I'll do that for you. 162 clarinet players later, literally 162 clarinet players later, and 9 hours of hearing that and I heard every possible sound in the world in those 160. Some things that were not identifiable as clarinet sounds, right? And so when we talk about characteristic sounds, that's what I'm. Do you sound the way you should when you play this instrument? And I hear those sounds, and you're learning how to EQ this ensemble sound. You know what I mean? EQ. Band directors call it balance, right? I just use a different word, EQ, right? Because you ever mess with the EQ on your stereo, right? And you're always trying to get it with the bass, right? And then you're kind of layering everything else on top of the bass. That's the way a band's got to work too. We just want to EQ it the same way, right? So I choose to build my house on his sound and your sound, right? Because that's the base of this group. I choose to build my house on that. So that means the EQ's got to be there. That's got to be the strong stuff. And then I'm going to layer everything else on top of that. Just the way that we would EQ it if we were in our car or on our whatever device we have, or if you have a stereo at home, you ever seen a stereo that's got all the mini sliders on it?
Yes.
And you don't listen to music with treble turned all the way up and bass turned all the way down unless you want a good laugh. Right? It's kind of like a cartoon, right? That way. Right? So that you're always, everybody, that's why you can pull up to any stoplight here in Auburndale and probably you're going to hear dum, 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 right? Because everybody listens to the music with the bass where that's the way we enjoy listening to music, right? So what do we know about playing instruments that will help us in here with this group? We know that we like to listen to music that's heavy on the bottom. We know that, right? Boom, I choose to build my house with you and you, right? So, and you're doing that. There's a lot of good balances, and I just think there's some EQ here and there. In fact, I made one note, work to reimagine the EQ in the loud dynamics. How many different possible dynamic levels are there? There could be an infinite amount. What do we normally teach as music teachers? From like triple piano to triple F. That's kind of what we teach, right? So triple piano, double piano, piano, mezzo forte, forte, double forte, triple forte. So there's like 8, right? That's kind of what we teach, right? So we want to make sure that in the loudest dynamics, that our house is still built on that sound, right? Pull up the second movement real quick, would you? Yeah, Horkstow Grange. And you don't have a role. Neither do I. Okay? Because what we're going to do is we're going to let you play. All right? He's not going to, but I'm going to just give you a breath. I'm just going to show you where the breath is. I want you to play the second movement. Okay? He's not conducting. I'm not conducting. You're the musicians. You play. Okay? Here we go. On a breath. And ready, and. Similar to this morning, and I was talking about how difficult long note music is, right? And it's probably not your most enjoyable thing to play. It's like long notes, right? It's hard to play long notes and sound good and play in tune and move together and, you know, and all that kind of stuff, right? Do something for me, would you? Would you get both your hands where you can clap? So you got something in your hands. Either sit it down or whatever you got to do. So you're going to clap, all right? So let's see if we can, I'm going to introduce a little exercise to you that I think might help you with time. Okay, the first thing is we got to use our ears. But we can also learn how to do a little bit better job too, right, with a simple exercise. So in just a second, I'm going to give you a number. And that number represents a number that I want you to clap on when you get to it. So for instance, if I say clap on count 5, then that's exactly what I want you to do. I want you to clap on count 5. And only one time. It's one clap. Okay? It's not applause. It's one clap. Here's the trick. You're going to close your eyes. And no one can make a sound. Can you hear the air conditioner running?
Yes.
Sort of? Maybe you might be able to hear the lights buzzing.
Yes.
Kind of hear a drone sound in here? Okay, so when I count you off, that's all I want to be able to hear. So nobody can tap their toe. Nobody can count under their breath. Right? You have to be completely silent. I'm going to count you in by going 1, 2, ready, go. Or ready, play. Right? And then I want you to clap on count 5. Understand the instructions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see what we can do. Eyes closed, completely silent. We're clapping on count 5. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, what do you think? Was it together?
Close.
It was pretty close, wasn't it? Yeah. What happens if I slowed the tempo down? Somebody said it's going to get harder, and a lot of people started shaking their head that they agree. Now you know why long note music is so hard. Right? That's exactly why long note music is hard. It requires you to stay engaged and subdivide the tempo all the time. Right? So let's play this game a couple of more times. All right? So we'll do the same thing. I'm going to change it. No, I'm going to keep it the same. Let's stay at count 5. But I am going to change the tempo. All right? So eyes closed. Everyone completely silent. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay. To my ear, that was worse than the first time, wasn't it? Yeah. And you guys are smart. You understand what I'm talking about. Popcorn. Yeah. That's the word that came out of here. Popcorn. Yeah. How about this? Count 4, and I'm going to change the tempo again. Count 4. Eyes closed. Completely silent. Count 4. 1, 2, ready, go. That's probably the best of the 3 that we did. Yeah, that's starting to get... Now, hey, just to give you a clue, I do this little exercise like this a little bit every day with my college ensemble. You know, you have a warm-up that you play every day. You get real good at it after a while because you do it, what? Every day. Every time you get together, you get real good at it. Right? So I do this little exercise every day that I meet my ensemble. Just a couple of minutes. Right? And my ensemble is getting better and better and better with time and how we manage time and being consistent. So, do you think that you have to subdivide slower or faster in slow music? That's a tricky question. Do you think you have to subdivide faster or slower in slow music? Some of you stayed with me just when I said that the first time. The slower the music, the faster the subdivision has to be in your head. Because now, if the tempo is right here, to just simply subdivide 1 and 2 and 3 and it's not good enough. We got to get to the next level. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you picking up what I'm putting down? Maybe you heard some of this before, right? Maybe you heard it just a little bit different way. And that's why it's cool to get a different teacher in here. That's why it's cool for him to have 2 other people come up here and maybe say some of the same stuff, but say it a different way. Would you do me the favor of playing the second movement now? Let's go second movement. We're just going to play a few bars, but we're going to do it the same way. We're going to breathe and don't walk on each other. Okay? Here we go. Take a breath and play. And ready, breathe. Musicians do, right? We just talked about it a few minutes. I had you play an example. I didn't conduct a note, and your conductor's not up here either. You can do that, right? You can do. I tell my students at the university all the time, the best tribute you can make to me is not need me. You don't need me because we've done all of this before. You don't need me. You can do this on your own. I'm just going to stand up here and do this, right? Right? I'm going to do that. You don't need me. Right? Yeah. So, hey, I want to give you mad props for all of this. Right? for all of it, because you deserve it. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. You know what I like too is it means something to me to come in here and hear yes sir, no sir. You know, and it means something when you get a compliment for you to say thank you. You didn't qualify it back and say you just said thank you. Right? How many times when somebody compliments you do you just say thank you? Or are you always trying to qualify? Well, I could have done. You know, sometimes it's okay just to say thank you. Right? So you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. And I've really enjoyed working with you today. And I hope it makes a difference. Right? I know what Mr. Fultz is talking about, and I know that your director, I mean, you're on point. You're on point. Enjoyed my time. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you. You're welcome, sir.
Proud to present this certificate in recognition of Superintendent's Music Merit Award with, in excellence and with distinction. That's the highest congratulations. Go ahead, clap. That's the highest thing that we can give you, okay? And it pales in comparison to what he just said, and our thanks for playing the music that you did for us today. Never doubt for a second that 15 months of crappy time can get healed, and it can get healed by music, because that's what we do, is we play music. You know, it's really bad out there, and we have to stay at home, and sometimes we turn on the Zoom and the camera doesn't work. Or something, you know, and sometimes you get the, yeah, that's, you know, and you come in and it's a bad day, and you come in and you play and you go, I feel better. It doesn't fix it because you still have to go to the next class and deal with that teacher. But it makes you feel better. And never forget that, because it heals your soul. Okay? I tried to forget that for 2 years in college. I'm like, well, I'm going to be an engineer. And I went ahead and got my degree in engineering, but the whole time I'm going, something's missing. I'm not playing the horn. I'm not playing music. And I figured, I got smart and figured it out. It was missing. But that was it. Don't ever put this down. It's hard sometimes. You don't have to do what we do and, you know, and major in music or whatever, but don't forget what this does to you when you play. All right? Thank you so much for playing for us today. Thank you for your preparation, your hard work. Thank you, sir, for doing all this. And I think it's about time for us to stop talking and let you go home.